All the phones off, please.
I hope mine's off.
And you can start, right?
Okay, good morning. Good afternoon.
Hi.
First question, tell us about your first experiences reading Austen.
My first memory of reading Austen, and there may have been an earlier point, was when I was sick at home and I slept in this little room with a sloping roof and I read Emma. And I think my mother might have introduced me to it. My mother loved Jane Austen, and I remember these grey-backed books on our bookshelves and the names Northanger Abbey, Emma, Pride and Prejudice. I just remember the titles. But Emma, I think she maybe gave me to initiate me because one of the main characters is Harriet Smith, and I could identify with this rather sad, plain girl who was bossed around by an older girl or a more confident girl, because I would have probably identified with that position. At that stage, most of my best friends were a little older than me and a little prettier than me, and so I think I got taken through the novel via the character of Harriet Smith. And then later on, it would have been probably Emma, because Jane doesn't avoid describing the bad bits about her, but she's still someone you love at the end because she learns about herself. And Lizzie Bennet you would have admired. I'm sure I thought I wish I was like her, but I wouldn't have identified so strongly with her. And then later on, sort of after doing the film of Sense and Sensibility, I really loved the character of Eleanor. And in a similar way, I love the character of Anne Elliot, because those older, wiser characters, I mean, I know they're not old, they're only 27, but they've had a bit of heartbreak and they've lived a bit of life. They're not annoyingly naive any longer. And they're courageous souls and very passionate, I think, underneath a kind of sensible exterior. And I think I rather identify with them now. I don't think I'll ever identify with the old nasty characters, but those are the ones I end up playing now. The difficulty is to sustain a balance between the objective nature of the characters that the narrator is describing and the subjective, which as soon as you dramatize something and give actors the role, they become subjects of their own story rather than objects of the writer's eye. And that's the main difference when you dramatize something as opposed to when you read it, because you have a private transaction with the writer where you're sort of caught in on, come and look at this. Whereas when you have to embody the character, you have to believe in her and care about her and make an apology for her, however badly behaved she is. People always say, oh, it must be such fun playing horrible people. I don't really like playing horrible people. I mean, if they're funny, there's a great pleasure to be had, but it can get a bit comfortable for the audience to know, oh, this person's a villain, I'm going to dismiss them and laugh at them. And I prefer to tread a slightly more ambiguous line where the audience kind of begin to identify with you and think, oh, maybe I'd do that. And then suddenly you turn around and become very unpleasant, and they have to face perhaps that in their own nature rather than constantly stand outside and laugh at it.
That's great, thank you very much.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Thank you, that's superb.
Thank you. Getting a bit hot and shiny.
Yes.